If a woman allows you to touch this one specific place, the truth is, the battle for her heart was already decided long before that moment. Most men miss it completely, and by the time they realize what it meant, she's already emotionally gone. Listen carefully, because this is something most men were never taught. You were taught to chase signals, to look for obvious signs, a smile, a laugh, a flirtatious message. But women rarely communicate attraction in loud, obvious ways. Real attraction is quiet. It hides in small moments, moments so subtle that only a man who understands female psychology will recognize them. And one of the most powerful moments happens through touch. But not the kind of touch you're probably thinking about. I'm not talking about obvious physical intimacy. That kind of contact can happen for many reasons: curiosity, attraction, comfort, or sometimes even social pressure. That alone doesn't reveal what's happening inside her mind. The real signal comes much earlier. It happens when a woman allows you into her personal space in a way that most men overlook, when she lets you touch her hand and she doesn't pull away. You might think that sounds simple, almost insignificant, but psychologically, it's anything but. The human hand is incredibly sensitive. It carries emotional meaning in ways most people never consciously think about. From childhood, we associate hands with safety, trust, and connection. When someone holds your hand, your brain interprets it as closeness and emotional acceptance. For women especially, hand contact isn't just physical, it's emotional territory. When a woman allows you to hold her hand naturally, without hesitation, without tension, without that subtle withdrawal, it means something powerful has already happened inside her mind. She has lowered her guard. Women spend most of their lives protecting their personal boundaries. They are constantly aware of who is allowed into their physical space and who is not. This awareness operates almost subconsciously. So when she lets you take her hand while walking, when she places her hand in yours during a conversation, when her fingers stay intertwined with yours instead of slipping away, she is revealing something deeper than attraction. She is revealing comfort, and comfort is the doorway to emotional attachment. Here's what many men get wrong. They think attraction is about impressing her, saying the right lines, showing status, proving value. Those things might get attention, but they don't create the quiet emotional safety that allows a woman to relax around you. Relaxation is the real indicator. When a woman feels safe with a man, her body language softens, her movements slow down, her physical distance closes naturally, and small touches become normal instead of guarded. That moment when her hand stays in yours without resistance is not random. It means her nervous system is no longer treating you like a stranger. It's treating you like someone who belongs near her. And that's a psychological shift most men never notice, because they're too busy trying to escalate things quickly. But women don't fall for men who rush physical closeness. They fall for men who create emotional calm. When she feels calm next to you, touching your hand doesn't feel risky. It feels natural, and natural connection is incredibly powerful. A woman can fake flirtation, she can fake interest in conversation, but her body rarely lies about comfort. If she keeps her hand in yours, if her fingers rest there easily, if she squeezes gently without thinking, you are witnessing one of the earliest forms of emotional acceptance, not possession, not control, acceptance. And that is far more powerful than most men realize. Because by the time a woman feels comfortable enough to let that moment exist, she has already spent hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, subconsciously deciding that you are someone she feels safe around. That decision happens quietly, long before you ever notice. And once it happens, something changes in the dynamic between you. You stop being a man she's evaluating. You become a man she's experiencing. And those two positions are worlds apart in the psychology of attraction. Most men spend their entire lives trying to pass a woman's evaluation, but the moment she lets you into that simple human contact, when her hand stays in yours without hesitation, you're no longer trying to prove yourself. You're already inside her emotional world, and that's where real connection begins. There is a moment in every connection between a man and a woman where the invisible wall disappears. You won't hear it break. You won't see it fall. But suddenly, she stops guarding herself around you. And that is when the real signals begin. Most men believe attraction shows itself through big gestures, passionate kisses, obvious flirting, dramatic chemistry. But in reality, the most powerful signals are quiet and almost invisible unless you understand how the female mind works. A woman's body language always tells the truth before her words ever do. And when she begins to trust you emotionally, one thing starts to happen naturally. She begins touching you first. Not in obvious ways, not in ways that scream for attention, but in subtle, almost unconscious moments. Her hand lightly brushing your arm when she laughs, her fingers resting on your shoulder while making a point, a gentle push against your chest when she teases you. These moments might feel random to you, but psychologically, they are anything but random. Touch is one of the most powerful communication tools human beings have. It bypasses logic and goes straight into emotional processing inside the brain. When a woman touches a man voluntarily, she is crossing a psychological boundary. She is saying, without using words, "I feel comfortable with you." Comfort is the foundation of attraction. Think about it this way. A woman who feels uncertain around a man keeps her body guarded. Her arms stay closer to herself. Her movements remain controlled. Her physical distance stays measured. But when she feels relaxed around you, something shifts. Her physical awareness lowers. And that's when these small touches begin to appear. It's not calculated. It's instinctive. Her mind is no longer treating you like a potential threat. Instead, it begins categorizing you as someone safe to interact with physically. And once that psychological barrier breaks, connection becomes much easier. Here's where many men sabotage themselves. They misinterpret these signals as permission to suddenly escalate things physically. They rush forward, thinking the door is wide open. But attraction isn't built through rushing. It's built through emotional pacing. When a woman begins touching you casually, it means she is comfortable with the dynamic you've created. That dynamic is working. And when something is working, the smartest thing a man can do is maintain it. Confidence isn't about pushing further. Confidence is about being calm enough to let attraction grow naturally. This is where emotional intelligence separates men who struggle in dating from men who naturally draw women closer. The man who panics and tries to move faster often destroys the emotional atmosphere she just started trusting. But the man who remains relaxed, who continues being grounded, who doesn't suddenly act differently, that man becomes even more attractive, because now she feels safe and intrigued. Safety creates openness. Intrigue creates desire. And when those two forces combine, attraction becomes powerful. Many women never consciously analyze these moments, but their nervous system responds to them deeply. Every time she feels comfortable touching you and nothing awkward happens, her brain stores that experience as positive. And over time, those experiences build emotional attachment. Not because you forced something, but because you allowed space for her comfort to grow. Women don't emotionally connect to men who pressure them. They connect to men who create environments where they can relax without fear of judgment or expectation. That's why some men walk into a room and women feel drawn to them almost immediately. It's not always about looks, money, or status. It's about presence. A calm, grounded presence signals emotional stability, and emotional stability is one of the most attractive traits a man can possess. When she touches your arm while laughing, when she leans slightly closer during conversation, when her hand stays near yours on the table instead of moving away. These are signals that her subconscious mind is slowly opening the door. And every time you respond with calm confidence instead of nervous excitement, that door opens a little wider. This is the quiet dance of attraction most men never learn to recognize. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but it is incredibly powerful. Because the strongest connections between a man and a woman rarely begin with passion. They begin with comfort. And comfort is the seed that eventually grows into something much deeper, something that feels natural, effortless, and almost inevitable. The kind of connection where neither person feels like they're trying. They simply feel like they belong near each other. And once a woman begins to feel that with you, her behavior changes in ways that reveal something even more powerful about her emotional state. Something most men completely misunderstand. Something that quietly shows when a woman has stopped seeing you as just another man and started seeing you as her man. There is a moment in every woman's mind when something changes, and most men never even realize it happened. It doesn't happen during a dramatic kiss. It doesn't happen during some perfect romantic line. It happens quietly, a shift in the way she sees you. Before that moment, you are simply a man in her world, someone she's observing, evaluating, slowly deciding how much space you deserve in her life. But after that moment, you become different. You become someone she protects emotionally, and one of the strongest signals this shift has happened appears in a place men rarely pay attention to. Her shoulder. Psychologically, the shoulder area is deeply connected to vulnerability and relaxation. When people feel tense, stressed, or guarded, their shoulders tighten and lift. It's a natural defensive reaction. But when someone feels emotionally safe around another person, their shoulders relax. Their body language softens, and something subtle begins to happen. A woman may lean her shoulder gently against yours, maybe while sitting next to you, maybe while walking side by side, maybe during a quiet moment when words aren't even necessary. This moment is far more powerful than most men realize, because leaning her shoulder into you isn't about attraction alone. It's about trust in your presence. She is allowing her body to rest against yours. That means her nervous system feels calm around you. In psychology, this is known as co-regulation. Human beings subconsciously adjust their emotional state based on the energy of the people around them. When someone feels stable, grounded, and safe, others naturally begin to relax in their presence. So when a woman leans her shoulder against you, even casually, her brain is saying something important. She feels peace beside you. And peace is incredibly rare in modern dating. Many relationships today are built on excitement, tension, uncertainty, emotional roller coasters that feel thrilling at first but slowly become exhausting. But when a woman experiences calm connection with a man, it affects her deeply. Because calm means she can stop performing. She doesn't have to impress you. She doesn't have to guard herself. She doesn't have to constantly analyze every word. She can simply exist next to you. And that emotional freedom is powerful. This is why some men seem to attract deep loyalty from women while others constantly struggle to maintain attention. It isn't always about charm or charisma. It's about emotional stability. When a woman leans her shoulder into you, she is subconsciously syncing her emotional state with yours. Your presence becomes a place where her mind can rest. And when the mind rests, attachment begins forming. But here's the truth most men never hear. The moment she starts feeling emotional peace with you, she begins imagining you in her future. Not consciously at first, just small thoughts. What it would feel like to spend more time together. How life might look if you remained part of it. Whether you're someone she could rely on during difficult moments. These thoughts build quietly over time. And every small physical gesture that reinforces comfort, like leaning her shoulder against yours, strengthens that emotional connection. That's why forcing attraction never works long-term. Real connection grows through emotional experiences, not clever strategies. When she feels peaceful beside you, her brain releases chemicals associated with trust and bonding, the same emotional mechanisms that strengthen deep relationships. And that's when her behavior begins changing in ways most men completely misinterpret. She may start texting you first. She may ask more questions about your life. She may become more curious about your thoughts, your opinions, your plans, not because she's trying to impress you, but because her mind has begun investing in you. And investment changes everything. Once someone emotionally invests in another person, they begin protecting that connection. They think about it, they nurture it, they worry about losing it. And this is where the dynamic between a man and a woman quietly transforms. You stop being someone she's exploring. You become someone she values. But there's one final signal, one behavior that reveals when a woman's emotional walls have truly dropped. A signal so simple that most men overlook it completely. Yet when it happens, it tells you something profound about the way she sees you, something that moves beyond attraction, beyond curiosity, into something much deeper: connection. There is one final moment that reveals everything about how a woman truly feels about you. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but once you recognize it, you will never look at attraction the same way again. Because this moment reveals when a woman stops guarding her heart and begins trusting you with it. It happens when she rests her head on your shoulder. Think about that for a second. Out of all the places someone could lean, the head is the most vulnerable. It protects the brain, the center of thought, emotion, and identity. From a psychological perspective, allowing someone close to that space is a powerful signal of trust. When a woman rests her head on your shoulder, she is lowering her defenses in one of the most instinctive ways possible. She is allowing herself to relax beside you completely. No tension, no distance, just quiet closeness. Most men think this gesture is simply romantic, but psychologically, it represents something much deeper. It means your presence feels safe to her nervous system. Safety is the foundation of emotional attachment. When people feel safe with someone, their brain begins associating that person with comfort, relief, and emotional stability. Over time, that association becomes incredibly strong. It's the reason certain people feel like home, not because of what they say, but because of how they make others feel when they're simply nearby. When a woman places her head on your shoulder, she's revealing that your presence brings her calm. She doesn't feel the need to perform. She doesn't feel the need to impress. She simply feels comfortable existing beside you. That level of relaxation rarely happens around someone she sees as temporary. It happens around someone she feels emotionally connected to. And here's something many men never realize. Women don't build attachment through grand gestures. They build it through repeated moments of emotional safety. Small experiences where they feel understood, small moments where they feel accepted, small moments where their guard slowly drops. Each of those moments stacks on top of the last, creating a quiet, emotional bond that becomes stronger with time. And when a woman rests her head on your shoulder, it's often the result of many of those moments already happening. You may think it's just a simple gesture, but inside her mind, something important has already taken place. She has allowed you into her comfort zone. And comfort zones are guarded carefully. Women rarely open that space unless they feel deeply at ease with someone. But there's something even more powerful happening beneath the surface. When a woman trusts a man enough to relax like that, her brain begins linking him with emotional security. That connection can become incredibly meaningful over time. It's why certain relationships feel effortless. Not because everything is perfect, but because both people feel safe being themselves. No constant pressure, no exhausting games, just natural connection. And ironically, that's the one thing most men unknowingly chase in the wrong way. They try to impress women with big gestures, clever words, and constant effort. But real attraction often grows in the quiet spaces between those moments, in calm conversations, in shared laughter, in comfortable silence, in the simple feeling that being together feels easy. The men who understand this become incredibly magnetic without trying, because they create something rare, a space where a woman can relax emotionally. And once she experiences that kind of connection, it's very difficult to replace, not because she feels controlled, but because she feels understood. That is the real secret most people never talk about. True attraction isn't built through pressure. It's built through presence. And presence is something you cannot fake. It comes from self-awareness, emotional stability, and the ability to be comfortable with yourself. When a man develops those qualities, women feel it immediately, not through words, through energy, through the way he carries himself, through the way people naturally relax around him. So here's a question I want you to think about honestly. Have you ever had a moment where a woman rested her head on your shoulder and you suddenly felt the connection between you change? Maybe it made you realize she trusted you more than you thought, or maybe you didn't recognize what that moment meant until now. I want you to share your experience in the comments. Tell me honestly, have you ever noticed one of these quiet signals from a woman before? Your story might help another man understand something he's been confused about for years. And if this video gave you a new perspective on attraction and relationships, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this truth.